Okay, everybody, I've already said this, but I want to make sure I get it on tape. Lily is an awesome instructor. I know most of you have seen her teach before. We're excited to have her do part 2 of this series on social media. Please help me welcome Lily Andress Smith. Yay!
Yay, thank you so much, Kathy. And thank you everybody for taking time to spend your evening with us. I know that there's a bunch of stuff that you could be doing during COVID. There's a lot of binge watching for TV. So I appreciate you taking time to learn a little bit more about how you guys can help your clubs grow. Because this is a small knit group, if each of you would be open to it, I'd love to go around and ask each of you what your goals are for this meeting. What are some things you're hoping to get out of it? Nancy, I can start with you.
I'm Nancy. I live in Corpus Christi and do multiple clubs here and multiple officer roles and area director. And then I'm always trying to post things on Facebook. I'm just learning LinkedIn. I think that this is a LinkedIn day. I thought it was, but just always needing to post, but not just for Toastmasters, but for other things that I do. So more I know, the better.
Good. I think this is going to be great because we are going to be covering some posting on LinkedIn too during this time. So we'll be able to go over that. Perfect. And Victoria?
I think I'm Victoria from Georgetown Toastmasters, and I think I said in the last one that I'm VP of PR. That's really a way outside of my comfort zone, but I took it on as a challenge because it is so far out of my comfort zone. I don't post much on social media, and I'm really going to try to use Instagram. I know that's what your last workshop was on in October, and I've yet to set an Instagram account up for our club. And so I need to do that. And then I think whatever you covered today, you probably, what I'd like to have is somebody say, hey, did you do that yet? I need some more accountability, maybe. I don't know.
We'll share your email in the chat and I'll follow up with you.
Okay, that might work. Thank you.
Of course. And then Phil?
Well, thank you. Well, I find that every club, I was an area director last year, they have their own personality. My club is more senior. They don't do social media. I would like to try to educate them and get more members. That's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm. That's a great goal. And then Claude.
Yes, I am from Club 423 in Austin, Texas, the Texas State Talkers. And one of the reasons I wanted to take this is we don't really have a huge social media presence. And I think in a lot of ways, like Phil's club, we do have some, it's a more chronologically advanced club. And
what a nice way to say that.
and so, those things, those tools may not have been readily available. And so, just trying to make that transition or help make that transition into something, to where we can be a little bit more present there. And I'm hoping this will help me get some ideas.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. I think y'all have some really good goals for this club or for this meeting today. So I'm really happy. And I think we're going to be able to look at some solutions and hopefully give some ideas, help you guys brainstorm how to make this work a little bit better for you guys. I'm going to share out my screen real quick for you and let me know if you have any trouble seeing this. All right. Okay. And because we are such a small group, and you guys are welcome to put in the chat if you have a question, and we can stop and address it because this is such a small group if you feel stumped or if you need any clarification. So don't hesitate to do the little hand motion if you need to, for me to pause and take a step back. But yeah, so tonight we're going to be discussing about social media and the types of content to post to help to get your club noticed. And I've already introduced myself to you guys, but I'm the social media strategist of District 55. And the goal for this, for my role here, is to make sure that we're utilizing social media to attract more membership and more growth to this club. And I think it's kind of funny that this role has become a thing during coronavirus, and that wasn't planned at all, but I think it's more important than ever to get our brands out there and our clubs in front of more and more people. But 2 Toastmaster facts about myself. I'm part of West Austin 2. My favorite key player role is Table Topics Master, because you get to include everyone. And I've learned my new favorite filler word is the word okay, which is terrible. So we're growing. So isn't my favorite word anymore, but I'm sure that you guys totally understand the same things for yourselves. We're always learning new things in Toastmasters. So with this meeting today, we have actually a lot of stuff to cover, but I do want to break down what we're going to be doing, and so what you guys can kind of know what you're going to get out of it. Because there are a lot of social media sites out there, it can be kind of hard to know which ones need the most activity. And so we're going to go over what sites need content on them. We discussed some different platforms over the last 2 sites, and we're going to discuss the ones that are pretty much the easiest to put content on, but also the ones that are the most popular. And then second, this goes right down what is content into the second part, which is how content differs on each platform. And in this portion, we are going to go over some tools that are available online to make posting easy for you. And then lastly, as we go through this isn't necessarily going to be in chronological order, but I want to see if we can try to practice creating some of these posts together, especially because this is a small group. I think that this is a good opportunity for us to, if we haven't posted on a specific platform before, kind of use this time to go in and see if it works, and if you have any sticking points, be able to work on it together as a group. Real quick, before we do jump in, I do want to go over a quick list of some of the terms that I'm going to be throwing around during this discussion, and I want to make sure that everyone understands what they are. So the first is going to be content. That's going to come up a lot. It's probably going to be the most used word in this entire presentation. And just content, this is plain and simple. It is something like, for example, a picture or a text block or a video that someone posts on their social media site or has shared with other people on a specific social media site. So that's not specific to a social media site. Content is across all social media platforms. And then second is engagement. What that is this measures the amount of shares, likes, or comments for a piece of content that someone has published or put out onto social media. And then lastly, a feed. That's going to be a constantly updating list of new content that is being published by other users that are on your social media site that you can see. Just want to make sure that everyone knows those terms and doesn't get confused as we're throwing those all out there. Okay, because there are so many different social media sites out there, it's really easy to get overwhelmed by what you should and shouldn't be posting for your club. To make things easier, we're only going to be going over Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn this evening. And because it sounds like all of you guys attended the social media basics webinar back in October, you already know the importance of why your club should have these pages. These sites, they're used every day by people, so it's important not just to have these pages, but to make sure that you and your club are being seen on these sites. And to be seen, you do have to make sure that you're going in and posting. Victoria, do you have your hand up? Oh, no, okay, I wanted to make sure I was.
No, I'm sorry. I was just hearing you say you should go and post, and that's, yeah, it's no good to have the site without the posting.
Yeah, exactly. You can create the site and it can sit there and be completely empty and no one will see it. And that's the important part of going in and posting. So it's absolutely true. And then when it comes to posting on social media, though, it is a fine line when it comes to posting. There really isn't a true definition of what is too much and what's too little, but there's some general rules of thumb to follow. Make sure that you are posting on a regular basis. At most, I would say once a day. at absolute most. Any more than that, and you do run the risk of becoming annoying to your followers. Do you ever have that person that you're friends with on Facebook or on your social media feed, and they post all the time and they take every quiz known to man on social media and they post it all the time? You're just sick of seeing them, even though you might love them. You just don't want to see it. So you don't want to be that person with your club. Really, a good aim is about 4 to 6 times a week. But what you do, really, but what you post, that's really what's going to make the difference here. And thinking about all of these different sites, what do you post on these sites? Because there's so many. Do you post the same thing on all these sites? Do you have to make them different? And the reason is people are on these different sites for different reasons. So we want to make sure that our posts are going to be tailored to each of these platforms to an extent. With these sites, some basic facts about these sites that are going to help you in deciding what you want to create, the type of content you want to create for each of these platforms. So first off is Facebook, right? And just want to ask, everyone here has a Facebook, correct? Raise a hand. If you don't have a Facebook, that's perfectly fine. Okay, looks like just about everyone. Phil, do you have a Facebook as well? You can just thumbs down. You do? Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks, Claude. Thanks. And then perfect. Yeah, so Facebook, it's primarily used by people between the ages of 18 to 49. However, it does have a really significant user base for people who are 50 plus. So it's a really good site to target a really wide demographic of people. It also offers users the ability to post and create content in many different ways, and we'll be sure to jump over that in a minute. And then lastly, Facebook sees better engagement on posts that are shareable and able to be discussed. That's a feature that's not available on a lot of different social media sites, and I'll show you what that is when we get over to the Facebook page. And then Instagram. This is a really great platform if you're looking to target that younger demographic. There's a pretty significant difference in the demographic of users for Facebook as there is for Instagram. It's actually 67% of all people that are between the ages of 18 to 29 in the US have an Instagram. So this is going to be a platform where you can really target that specific kind of younger group of people that you'd want to join your club. This site, when you do post, the goal is to get a lot of engagement on your posts. This, of course, is going to depend on how often you're posting and what you're posting, but that's the way that your posts are going to get seen by other people you're not connected with yet. And lastly, we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the social media platform for professionals that want to stay in touch with people that are within their professional network. It's also something that I think is really interesting about it. It's a really underutilized social media site. And what that means is there's not a lot of people posting on there right now, which means there's not a lot of stuff clogging up people's feed on LinkedIn. It's a great way to get people are going to that means more people are going to see your posts. They're going to comment on it, and that means it's going to get spread out. More people are going to be able to see it, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, so real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to my Facebook real quick, because I think we can jump right in and look at some of the different content that we can create from here. So I'm going to reshare out my screen real quick and let me know if you guys are able to see it. You should be able to see my personal Facebook. Okay, perfect. Thanks guys for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Okay, so with Facebook here, you're able to share a wide range of information on Facebook really quickly. So we're going to go through the different types of content that can be shared on this platform. So this is my personal page, and we're going to use this as an example. First thing that I want to talk to you guys about is Facebook stories. And I'm going to go through really quickly on how to create a Facebook story. And we touched over this briefly last time, but since this is a small group, if you're able to, or you have a second monitor, if you have a Facebook, why don't you pull up your Facebook page and we can try to create a Facebook story together real quick. So Facebook stories, this is where your friends who you're connected to, you can share videos or pictures for a 24-hour period. After the 24 hours, they disappear. So this is a really good feature you want to use if you want to update people about a meeting theme that you have coming up, or if you need, perhaps you need a grammarian for this week. This is a good place where you can go in and ask people within your group or people you're connected to interact with the club. So let's walk how to create a story. So at the very top, you should be able to see some of these stories here, but you see the icon where it says create a story on the top left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. So it gives you some options here between creating a photo story and creating a text story. If you create a photo story, it's going to pull up photos from your photo album. But just for the sake of making it simple, let's just create a text story because everyone can do that together right now. So for example, let's just type in whatever you want to type in. That could be something about your theme this week, but we're just going to type example for now. There's different types of fonts that you can use, different backgrounds. So you can tailor it to however you want to advertise your club, really. And at the bottom, it says share to story. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And I'm going to go back in and click on my story.
Hey, Lily.
So this is what people can see.
Where I don't see stories on my Facebook list. I hardly ever go on my personal Facebook. I'm always on the D55 one. So you said it's at the top left?
Yeah, so I'm going to jump back over to my screen again. So when you pull up your Facebook page,
yeah,
it should be at the very top. Are you on a regular browser, or are you on a mobile device at all?
Oh, I'm on my desktop. I have 2 desktops and a laptop. So I'm on one of the desktops.
Yeah, so if you're on your regular Facebook feed, it should be at the very top of your home page.
At the top of my home page, the very top left-hand side says Messenger.
It says Messenger.
I see other people's stories, but I don't see where it says to create one.
Do you want to share out your screen real quick? I'd love to see that.
I don't have it on this computer.
Oh, okay.
But I can pull it up if you want me to.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Let me see. How do I get out? Okay, hang on.
While she's doing that, could you explain why I'd want to do a story versus a post?
Yeah, that's a great question. So posts actually are, so a story, for example, that's something that you only are going to have up on your Facebook page for 24 hours. So it's something that'll leave after 24 hours, it automatically disappears. So that's something that's going to be, you'd want to post for your club, or something about anything you'd want to post that is going to be a little more time sensitive.
Does it get shown more? Like, I know Facebook edits what gets shown, you know, it doesn't, not everything gets shown to everybody.
Yeah, so what it does is it's actually at the very top. So people go in and they just, if they click on one person's story, it automatically, so I can show you here. So if someone were to, or I'll show you after.
So it comes up right on the top.
You want me to click on one
friends?
of the stories at the top of mine?
Yeah, if you go in and do that, or
yeah,
actually,
see, I'm
Kathy,
like Nancy, I always do posts. So
at the very, yeah. So if you go to that plus sign on the top right-hand side.
Top right-hand side.
Yeah, there's a little plus icon.
Okay.
So it's just to the right
now
of the story that's showing.
Stories. When I clicked on his, it came up. I see it.
Yeah, so then you can go to create a story there.
But
that little plus
by clicking on somebody else's story, and that's what brought it up.
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, you can click into the story that way, or it can be up on the top right-hand side.
Okay, got it.
But would you do posts as well, or just stories? I mean.
So if you wanted something that was just going to be there for 24 hours, that's when you would use a story?
Or something that's kind of a, or even sometimes, so something that's interesting is, so let's say, for example, we're looking at my story right now, it's going to automatically load up the next person's story. So I don't even have to go in and click on it. It's just going to automatically start showing me everyone's story that's in my feed. So it's another good way to get people to see a Facebook post. So you could do both. So you can post whatever you were going to put in your story on, let's say, a regular Facebook post, like what's down here below, and then also put it in your story. So it's a good way to get more people to see it, because sometimes, like you were saying, Nancy, Facebook's algorithm can be super weird with what they decide to show you. But if you can actually double dip and put both, then more people are going to see it. So that's another really great way to get more people exposed to your post. And even going down here to creating an actual post, this is going to be something that you want to have on your page full time, right? So this is going to be something more like a picture you'd want to post of your club meeting. If we were to take a picture all together on Zoom, that would be a great example of something that you'd want to stick around for a little bit longer and keep for 24 hours. So that's a really great example of that. Does anybody have any other questions about the stories or about the posts on Facebook? Yes, Nancy?
I have another question. So on your shortcuts, you have a whole bunch of Toastmaster Lily things. What are those? Are they?
So those are practice clubs that I created when I'm going through this. Yeah, they're just so I can post stuff and like do like test examples.
Okay,
and not.
No, that's fine. I'm just making sure it's not something, but I don't know.
No, that's a good question. Yeah, I have those so I don't send out a bunch of like practice posts to everybody that
your friends don't want to see something that says example.
Yeah, exactly. Good question though. But yeah, so with so for example, let's go back up to where it says stories. So something that's to your stories. So it's always important to know how to get rid of something that you post online. That's one of the most important things about being online, is knowing how to delete something really quickly. So up at the very top of your story, there's going to be 3 little ellipses. You can go in and delete whatever you've created there, and it'll go away. So it's always important to know how to get rid of stuff on social media too, in case you have a typo or it just maybe you got a date wrong. But yeah, so really Facebook is, the thing that's great about it is you're able to share a lot of different types of content here. So for example, you can share an article to something you've read, or a picture or a video. We have a lot of options on this site. And something that is really important to note is that content that is published on Facebook in the form of a video gets more views or engagement than a regular photo post. This is something that I was reading about, and I was excited about this because we're a Toastmasters club and we do public speaking. So video posts actually get 59% more engagement than just regular texts here on Facebook. So if you have anybody in your club that's comfortable with maybe doing a table topics that you guys could film during Zoom, that would be a really great way to advertise just to the outside world the skills that they could pick up from joining one of your clubs for a meeting. So that's just something I thought was really cool, is that live videos get much more engagement. Okay, and then before getting into specifics on how to create posts for Facebook, make them a little more tailored, we're actually going to jump over back to the PowerPoint, because I want to talk about posting on Instagram real quick. We're doing a lot of back and forth, so I don't mean to make you guys dizzy this evening. Okay. All right. Okay. Thumbs up, it's all good. You guys can see that? Okay. So Instagram, it's an app for mobile devices. And unfortunately, what that means is I'm not able to pull it up on a computer screen and walk through how to create a post. So I just did screen captures of this. So hopefully this still makes sense for everyone though. But you can see at the very bottom of this example page here of like what an Instagram feed looks like, there's a little plus icon here at the bottom. And that's where you would go in and create a post. And depending on what version of Instagram you have, that plus sign can move around on that rectangle, but always click on the plus sign and that's gonna get you to create a post. And to create a post on your Instagram, what you're gonna do is after you click that icon, it's gonna pull up your photo library on your phone or whatever mobile device that you have. And you can choose whatever picture you wanna post. And if you wanna post more than one picture here, you have the option where it says select multiple, and you can go in and pick a couple of different pictures at once. So this is just an example of a picture. And once we've picked that photo, we can click the next button at the very top on the right-hand side. And that's going to take you to where you can edit this picture. So they have so many different filters and ways to edit on Instagram. It's a ton of fun, really. And I recommend just going in and playing around just with just a very plain picture, so you can see what the different filters look like, how you can sharpen a picture, add more shadows to it. This is the really fun part of using this app, because it allows you to get in touch with your artsy side if you'd like. So once you pick a filter that you like, this is where you're able to caption your photo. And for example, you could say, hey, this week's theme was, we learned about different travel advice, things like that. So you can do a theme, for example, and then a quick summary of your post. And then after that, Instagram people search for different things on Instagram through things that are called hashtags. And you can choose as many hashtags as you'd like to put on a post. I'm sure there's a limit, but you'd have to put a lot of hashtags on it for there to be a limit. And for example, if someone's looking up on the search option of Instagram, Austin, Texas, every post that's hashtagged Austin, Texas is going to show up. Or if you want to put Toastmasters or self-improvement, whenever someone looks for that, they're going to be able to see your post. And it's a really great way to get your club in front of more and more people just by simply using a commonly used hashtag. After you've captioned your photo, you're almost done. So you have an option to tag people who are either in the photo or are some way tied to the subject matter of the photo. And below, you're able to mark your location as well. I've picked Austin for an example because I'm located here, but when people use Instagram, they can also search based off of location as well as hashtags. So this is another really good way for people to find clubs that are within their local area or clubs where they're going to be traveling to. And lastly, we have at the bottom, you can see other accounts that you can post this same post to. So what that means is at the bottom, you can see on Facebook down there, you can duplicate this post onto your Facebook page as well. And that just makes it really easy for you to not have to go in and recreate a second post on Facebook and then recreate another post on LinkedIn. Sure, you can go in and edit the summary of the post, but the fact that that is physically on that page as well just makes your job way easier as VPPR or just trying to get more word out about your club.
How does anybody have those other accounts? How did it find those other accounts?
Yeah, that's a super good question. So if you are one of the administrators on your Facebook page, on your group's Facebook page, what you can do is if you set up an Instagram, so Instagram, since it's actually owned by Facebook, so it's going to intuitively want to connect you to your Instagram, to your Facebook. And it can give you an option of several different Facebooks. It'll probably do like your personal one, but you can, when it asks you to post on Facebook, it's going to give you the option to post either in a group or on your public page. And I can try to walk you through how to do that actually.
Just knowing that I can, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't do Instagram very much. I have some. So do you have an Instagram account for your club as well, or just for you personally?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have one for my club as well. And so that's something that we talked on a little bit last time, and I can go over this again.
I'll watch the other one. I'll go back and watch the other one. I'm sure I can learn from that too. Thanks.
Yeah, because it's a super great way to get those two sites connected and all set up. It just makes your life way easier when you're trying to do this.
Thanks.
Lily.
Of course.
Yeah, I have a question too. So I'm actually not on board with the Instagram craze. I don't even really have an account, personal account. So the question that I have really is kind of why, especially since they're connected, why would you choose Instagram over, like, say, a Facebook or something else, like other than demographic, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and demographic, I would say, is a pretty big reason, just
Okay.
because you're going to get very different types of people, but it is going to be more tailored more towards that visual content.
Okay.
So if you want to post things that are going to be more, if you want to post an article, for example, and here's a reason why, or here's an article that someone in my club wrote about how public speaking has helped them. That's something you would post on Facebook, but you wouldn't post that on Instagram just because it's not visually driven. Instagram's also helpful for people who just, they might not have a Facebook as well. Really the goal with social media, because there's so many different ones, is to try to cast a wide net, but make it as easy for yourself as possible. So you don't have to spend so much time creating content, but still be able to get in front of as many people as possible.
Okay, thank you.
It was a really good question though, Claude. I did like that question because it's a good one. It's like, because it does take time and you want to make sure that you're using your time effectively. So yeah, that is a fantastic question.
Well, and if you're trying to target that demographic, that's the younger people, Instagram is it, right?
Yeah, it's very popular with people 18 to 29. So it is really helpful. But yeah, having it connected to your Facebook does make your life easier if you just want to cross post there. And then we are going to jump over to LinkedIn really quickly, but before doing that, do you guys have any other questions about Instagram?
No, I've had an Instagram account for several years, and I'm just a voyeur. I read it almost every day, probably at least a couple times a day, but I just haven't posted, and I need to use it for our club. And based on those stats, that's the only way we're going to get diversity in our club.
But you can do it on the computer. When I used to do it, it was on the computer because I don't like to use my phone for any of that.
Oh, I do Instagram on my phone and on my desktop, and I also use Twitter quite a bit, actually.
That's a great one too. I think we definitely need to do a whole thing dedicated to Twitter. I think that's a great idea. But yes, it's super, super helpful just getting on these sites and just making sure you're on there. But
you have to you request friends and just everybody, everybody who's available, get as many contacts as you can. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's definitely the way to get in front of a lot of people there on Instagram, is to get in front of people you follow, but then also make sure to put a lot of hashtags on your photos, the location, just so when people are searching, they can see just your posts. They don't necessarily have to follow you or have to know you already to see your posts.
Also, if you make a club Instagram, then that club is making friends too, or whatever, connecting.
Yes, exactly.
With all kinds of people.
Yes, so it's even more people. I'm going to jump over to LinkedIn real quick. If you have any more questions about Instagram, throw those in the chat, just because we have a couple more things to cover and I want to make sure we have a little bit of buffer time at the end to answer questions. Okay, so right now we're on my LinkedIn page. Okay, excellent. Again, so this is, and does everyone have a LinkedIn page here? Is everyone pretty familiar with it? Okay, perfect. Yeah.
I have the same question. Do you do it for your club and for yourself, or does it just have to be yourself? Because I tried to do it for the club, I think, and I got stuck on that somehow.
Yeah, so you can set up a club page on your LinkedIn, but you can also post for your LinkedIn yourself, or for your club through your own self, because that's how you're going to get it in front of more people that are within your professional network.
But so this one we don't have one just for the club. It's
for a club, you have to put it on somebody's personal page. That's
yeah, you don't have a name for the club like you can do on Facebook. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, you can create a club for your club here. You can create a page for your club here on LinkedIn, but you need to invite people to that club before they could see what you post. And so it's really helpful to post it on your own page just so you can get it in front of your followers and your connections here. But yeah, LinkedIn is really similar to Facebook. So if you're already comfortable with creating posts on Facebook, it's going to be pretty intuitive on this site. Like you can see in the middle here, you can see where it says post. So you can post a photo or a video here. You're also able to post events for yourself as well. This is really helpful. It's another cool feature to draw attention to your club if you just want to advertise more about when your club meets. You could change the theme for the week here. So it's right up there at the top. And then also they have the option to write an article. And this is something more for someone who is, if you're a confident writer, knock yourself out. I think this is right up Kathy's alley, but you're able to write articles and it really helps build your reputation here. But for LinkedIn, something that is important is that text posts on LinkedIn, they get a lot of engagement, and they more than videos actually here on LinkedIn. These posts, you want to make sure that there on LinkedIn is a call to action at the end of these posts. So for example, asking people to comment below or asking about their experience or feedback. So this helps your post get seen by more of their followers that they're connected to on LinkedIn. And it's going to help your post get more engagement and at least more attention based on your club. So if we were to create a post really quickly, so for example, what I would do is there is an article here about why to join a Toastmasters club that I found. So for example, you could throw that in and it'll immediately pop up with a picture. And what you can do is you can try to hide the picture because again, text gets more engagement here. And you could write, for example, here's an article on why someone should join my club. Check out this article on how joining a local club can help. So let's just type that in real quick here. And then say something, for example, below, what are your thoughts on joining a club? Comment below. So that gives people a reason to comment and give their experience because everybody loves giving their opinion on stuff. People love it. So I'll go ahead and publish that real quick.
So it's better not to have pictures. That just seems so counterintuitive to me.
It's better not to have videos. So you can have pictures on LinkedIn. So it goes in order of text gets the most interaction on LinkedIn, then photos, and then videos are last. Okay. So if you have a post that has a photo, you want to make sure that there's text in there as well. Yeah. And text that tells a story on LinkedIn does really well. People love the story building on LinkedIn. But again, let's go up to the top of this post. You see those three little dots on the top right-hand side? Let's say you had a typo, spelling error. This is where you can go in and edit that post, or you can go in and delete the post entirely.
What do you mean by telling a story on a post on LinkedIn? I mean, like about a meeting, like what you posted. Is that a story?
Can I comment on that one?
Yeah, sure, jump in.
So I have my small business as a hypnotist, and one of the things I specialize in is anxiety. And I have all kinds of information about how hypnosis can help anxiety on my website. However, when I went in and posted it as 10 steps to healing anxiety naturally, I had like one a day, and I would do like skip maybe 3 days. So you could actually do the same thing for your club. 10 ways that Toastmasters can help you in your job or whatever you want to do, and just put like one step, because multiple stories are even better than one story. So, and I got a lot of hits and a lot of, people going onto my website from doing that, where it says write an article. It was great, and it's free.
So you did that under write an article.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to take that idea, Kathy, because I like the idea of spreading it out.
I've been trying to get clubs to do it for several years now.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea spreading that out. Just, yeah, going, telling a story with each step. It's fantastic. I think it's a great example.
And if you have that same kind of content, maybe different ways, like Williamson County is a great example. They have a series of articles about public speaking on their website. So I showed them in a PR class that I taught several years ago how to take that same content and then post it in pieces on Facebook and post it in pieces on LinkedIn and even post it on Twitter. And then you get multiple generation of leads from doing that. And you're not having to create new content because you're taking what you already did. One of my friends that's a published author, years in your bestseller years ago, he said one of the tricks he gave me was always reuse content because that makes it easier.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kathy. It's so true. There is no need to recreate the wheel here, because if someone has seen success, by all means, you do not need to recreate the wheel. And then I saw, Phil, you asked if there's an opinion on MUI or Parler. And I know that those are chat apps, like group chat apps, like WhatsApp, if I'm not mistaken. I've actually never used either of them. So if anyone in the group has used MUI or Parler, by all means, jump in and give your 2 cents about it. I just have never used them before, so I couldn't give you an honest opinion. But I think they're similar to WhatsApp, which is very standard and easy to use. And then just because we are almost out of time, I want to jump through the 2 free resources that are really helpful in creating content if you're feeling kind of stumped about what to post. The first site that I want to talk about is called Canva. And Canva is a template library for social media posts. If you've never heard of it before, if you've never been on it, it's a ton of fun. So you need to create an account there first with email, username, but once you do that, you have access to a lot of free resources. There's some paid versions of this, but you don't have to pay for it to get a ton of great results out of this site. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this website into the chat just so you guys can hold on to this for later, because it's been really helpful for me. So let's put this in here for everybody. So if you guys want to go in and save that, but this link, so right here, if you guys are able to see, this is the home page for Canva. So at the very top where you see it says homes, it says templates, right here it says features, learn. So I would encourage you guys on your own time to go in here and click the learn link. So this is where it's going to walk you through a little more step-by-steps that we won't have time to go over of how to create stuff that's really to get the most out of this free site. But let's hover over the templates here. So what you're going to see is there is templates for Instagram posts, Facebook, a whole bunch of stuff, your LinkedIn banner, and it's a really fun way to be able to use this. So let's go. So right here, I've already saved one template that I want to work on with you guys. It's going to be under recommended for you. Let's see. Okay. All right. So here's one that I picked the other day that I thought could be, let's do. All right, so what they do is they show a bunch of different templates here that you can use. And again, you can pick to your heart's desire because you can always go in and you can change colors, you can change fonts. So I know that we just did a presentation on branding. So I just want to let you guys know to be careful about this because we want to make sure that this looks like Toastmasters, it's labeled as Toastmasters. We don't want to go too far out there. If you guys want to post stuff internally for your club, by all means, I would say go to town. But if you're going to post it out publicly, just still try to keep that Toastmasters brand in mind. And I know that we just posted that training that Rick did last week. So if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and check that out just in case you're a little lost. But so for example here, this is a standard template. It's for a dental practice, but hey, I like the colors and I think it could be something that I'd want to share for my club. So for an example, each of these little blocks, you can go in and edit them to whatever you want it to say. So I'm going to say Toastmasters Club. And in this big block here, we're going to do holiday theme. So that's going to be your theme this week. And then each of these blocks, you can move all of them around as well. You can delete these blocks if you don't need them. What is your favorite holiday tradition? Let's say that's the theme for this week. And we're going to be meeting. We're going to say join us on Zoom. And then right here, we don't need this block, so we can just get rid of it entirely. And so let's say that you want to add an additional picture here, you want to recreate this page. So what you can do is if you want to add another page or to duplicate the page, you can see up here at the very top where it says add a title page, you can add notes, or you can duplicate that page. And then also, if you don't like it, you can go in and delete it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of my favorite things that this resource has to offer. And if you go to the very top, so obviously there's a ton of stuff that you can do. You can go in and you can change colors, you can change fonts, all this good stuff. But once you find something, you work on it, you like it, you can go to the top, the ellipses up there, and you can either download it. And I would recommend downloading it regardless, just to save it to your computer. But right below, it says share to Facebook. And it's going to pop up which club, if whenever you sign in here on this page onto Canva, it's going to ask you if you want to join your Facebook. And if you do, you can actually have your club right there. So you don't have to download it to your computer and reload it back to Facebook. You can just do it from here. It's intuitive, it's easy, it's simple. So you can go in and say test post, but really you would say something better than test post. And then you push publish, and it's going to spit it right out onto your Facebook. So it takes away that step of you having to go back in and post it again on Facebook. And then the last thing that I want to show you guys before we are out of time is another resource that I found that I've been really enjoying. And I'll put this one in the chat as well. And this is something called Pablo. And it is more photo based, but I've used it and I've seen success with it as well. So I'm going to send that out to everybody. And okay, it looks like, yeah, so Canva, there are options to pay for an account, but you can just set up a free account. So there should be those options, and they'll ask you if you want to set up a paid account, obviously, but you don't have to. So let's jump over to the Pablo site. So we're going to go to pablo.com, Pablo Buffer. All right, so this is another free resource, and it is primarily photo-based, so it's not post template-based like Canva. So on the right-hand side, what they're gonna have is they're gonna have a lot of stock images that you can use. And right here, you can kind of sift through, and then also you could go to the very top where it says templates. And so from here, you can choose if you wanna, just put your theme out for the week, or just say something nice in your club just to keep your internal club talking on Facebook. So for example, let's just pick this page and let's click promotion. So if you want to talk to people on your Toastmasters Club's Facebook page, this could be another tool that you could use to just mix up the content, be creative, and not just have post after post. And you can put in whatever information about the club that you need. But something I like about this is that you're able to move around these boxes. So you can change them up, make them your own. But then down here on the right hand or on the left hand side, you can upload your own images. And I don't have an image that I want to upload right now, but if you take pictures of your group or have members of your club send photos, it's a really great way to get that content that is specific to your club, but you can always add it and make it creative. So these are just two resources that I've found that have worked really well in creating good content for my club that gets people to engage on them. We have only a couple minutes left, so I want to make sure we have a little bit of time for people's questions at the end.
Does that one post to Facebook also, like the other one?
Yes, it does. Let me actually share that out again real quick. Thank you for reminding me about that. Okay, so you can see on the right-hand side, so I'm not great with my lefts and rights. You can see at the very bottom where it says share and download in that blue button.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gives you the option to send it to Twitter, to share to your Instagram, and to share to your Facebook. And then something else that just right above where it says logo, what I would recommend if you're VPPR of a club or if you're creating content, to get one of the Toastmaster logos and save it to your computer. So this way you can make sure that it's branded to Toastmasters, even though it's a photo. So it's another way to really tie it back to the organization as a whole.
Quick tip too, if you download that color logo, you'll have the colors that are approved by Toastmasters for use on your materials.
Mm-hmm.
Because the blue and the burgundy are background colors.
Mm-hmm. Great point, Kathy. Okay, so I just dumped a ton of information on you guys. So I appreciate you guys hanging in here with me and asking great questions. But in the short amount of time that we have left, is anybody stumped on anything that we can try to solve?
Maria, you okay? You look like you're like maybe on overload a little bit.
I'm good. I have used some of this.
Okay.
I have had like 3 meetings in a row tonight.
So it's Zoom fatigue. Got it.
The last one.
You're a champion for even being here then, Maria. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
This is Veronica. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you for joining, Veronica.
No problem. I have a quick question because I didn't see the session 1. In your session 1, do you talk about how to create a Facebook page where it doesn't connect up to you as a person? Like you can create an individual page for your club without it being attached to you? Is that possible?
Yeah, so in the first part, I did talk about how you can create a club and how it can look like your club is posting. You will, if you create the club, you will still be attached to it, but
okay.
It'll look like your club is posting. But that's a great point. And I think that's on the District 55 page, but I can send that link in the chat real quick.
Okay.
But great question.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of things to learn on social media. It just seems to never end.
Information overload.
Yes, exactly.
And
exactly.
It's constantly changing too. There's constantly new stuff coming out, and
it's always changing. Victoria, do you think that this will help with you posting on Instagram a little bit more?
There's always hope. I will do my best. No, it did.
Help,
it
please
did.
Let me know.
It did. Knowing that I could go to Canva and then creating something and posting it to the Facebook, that's really cool. I didn't know that, so I will definitely use that.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad. Yeah, because a lot of it I think comes down to just you become overwhelmed because you don't know what to post. It's like I have to post, but what do I post?
Yeah.
But this just makes it easier. Mm-hmm. It's like scrapbooking, but digital. So, well, it looks like we are right at 9:30. So if you guys don't have any questions, you're welcome to hop off. But if you have more questions, you're welcome to stay on, and I'll help try to solve those with you guys. Thank you. Thank you for all your questions,
always,
guys.
Lily. Thanks so much for doing this again. And
of course,
we will get it posted on the website for if you've got.
It smells like chicken in this car.
You got people that want to take the class, it'll be available.
That is not a good combo.
Thank you.
Of course, guys. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I so appreciate it.